So welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're doing our on-time March monthly debrief for
Actually,
2025.
I think it's too early.
Well, it's... People are going to be... Ooh.
Yeah, woo.
But...
Maybe you could run it at the end of, like, next week.
That's right. We're going to have made it today. They won't see it for 3 weeks. Just to fit with the vibes of what we've got going
don't
for
wait
this
3
year
weeks,
so
but,
far.
you know, maybe a week. Maybe 5 days.
So March was one of those months where we got a lot of gaming in, but it felt like it was kind of in fits and bursts. And we had a lot of multiplayer gaming that went on as well. In between kind of for lots of other things. I feel like it's just been really busy period.
It has.
March was, and I think...
But we did a lot.
April's
We really
shaping
did
up.
a lot.
We've got a bit more regular schedule, and
Yeah.
then we got convention at the end. So I think it'll be a bit more back to regularly scheduled programming, I hope.
Sure.
So March was it was the month of multiplayer games, right? We started off with kind of a big get together of 7 players. And we played Alliance, and that was over the day before you had played February games with Mike, and Mike stayed over.
ASLSK and 2GM Tactics.
Yes.
So.
And then, but we played. Where did I put it?
It's right there.
It's at the bottom. Of
Yeah,
course.
right. Always. Last
So-
place you look.
Alliance.
You know, before you find something, it's always the last place you look.
Alliance is a 7-player block war game from Columbia Games. If you've played a Columbia block war game, you know how this functions. It just has a very loose alliance system over the top of it, and it sits 7 people in the Napoleonic Wars.
It's big, it's grand,
It takes
pretty interesting.
the afternoon.
Yep.
It's fun, it was enjoyable, and we had with max players, it was really fun. This was a 2025 game, so it was kind of getting into those. That was really enjoyable, and it was a great day of gaming, because this is also a game that's not particularly complex. So we had some newer players, less intense wargamers, some very intense, inexperienced wargamers, and kind of everything in between, and everyone had a fun time with
I think everybody had a good time. So I think it's interesting you did mention the loose alliance and negotiation system. I don't think you said negotiation, but the alliance system. I think that was my only real complaint. I feel like it could have been fleshed out a little bit, a little more detailed, with some penalties or rewards or I don't know. It was just kind of a free for all. I'm going to be friends with you for a while.
Yeah. Which there's I'm fine with that, because it's just about not that kind of game where it's like it is kind of just whatever. Let's team up and dog on that guy. Oh, and then we'll switch alliances and go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they did have advanced diplomacy
it would be that much
and
better.
the rules, I think that could be a really fun and very simple addition to this game.
I think in general, I very much enjoyed the game. I think everyone did enjoy the game. I think it was fun. It was a mental gymnastics to try to figure out how to keep your blocks hidden from everyone. But it's one of those games that you just have to understand, I'm going to see your blocks, but I'm going to try not to remember them.
Yeah,
And if you can't find 7 guys to play with that think like that, then maybe you shouldn't be playing the game.
Yeah, maybe save this one for a convention with normal players who aren't trying to win a very light war game.
Yeah. But I thought it was good. I thought the map was really attractive as well. I thought the components were really good. Classic Columbia block war game system.
Yeah, they have a big neoprene exploded map.
Would have been nice, wouldn't it have?
It would have been nice.
$100, isn't it?
It's $150.
Okay.
It's extremely expensive. I think if it was $100, I might have done it. That's still an insane price.
Well, it would make the game that much better, and I think that much easier to hide.
But those aren't cheap to produce and ship.
No.
I realized that, but it was like $150, and I was like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
The map is totally functional as is. It's not the end of the world.
I would agree.
Alliance from Columbia, that was a really good time.
It was fun. Had a great time.
And I think then we didn't play anything the following week.
Well, then we went to Basement Con.
Basement Con. And Basement Con, we did a whole mess of wargaming. So let me...
Almost all big multiplayer.
I'll try and get this all out in
Wargames and
order. So we got there on Thursday evening, and we played Red Dragon Green Crescent. There is a full review of this either coming or has very recently released, depending on when you're watching.
I did a written piece on it, so if you're interested, you could go to the blog and read that.
This is from Decision Games. This is a massive deluxe 2-map mounted version of an old magazine game called Red Dragon Rising.
Well, and it's actually amalgamation of a couple of old games that were in, but the main one is Red Dragon Rising. I think there were some variants and some other things added that they kind of brought all together and released in a deluxe edition.
And it was just awesome. This was just fun. It was great. It played 2 players great.
It could do 4 players.
4 players.
I think you could do this solo very easy. There was almost no hidden information.
Yeah.
So
and you just kind of do the stuff, and it was just really fun. It was really enjoyable, and it looks big and it looks kind of scary.
Yes.
And the reality is that it is not.
Yes. Well, when you put those 2 big play aids in your hands, right, and there's like 7 different types of operations, and each one of them has 6 to 12. I think there's like 50 different operations. I counted.
Oh no! Yeah, it's at least
insane.
It's that. It's
so I remember thinking, oh boy, this is going to be just like Next War. Fill it in, right?
Yeah, very intense,
very detailed, very intense, But when we got into it, I was like, oh, this is pretty simple without being simplistic.
Yeah,
it was eminently playable. I thought it was organized fairly well. There were a couple of rules questions we had as far as some ambiguities.
Yes.
But overall, it was like, oh, okay, I get it. Combat's pretty simple. Movement's pretty simple.
It's all very simple.
Yeah, but it's just good.
It's just grand.
Yeah.
And you have a ton of choice within that. But each of the different resolutions being simple means that it goes by like this, and you're doing the strategic stuff.
Yep.
Because the tactical stuff doesn't weigh you down, where in other games it does. This was a wonderful game. Yep. I really enjoyed this. Is this a 25, I think?
No, it's 24.
This is a 24.
And I would say
right. It was on
this appears on both of our top games of 2024 list.
Yes.
Not going to say which
you may have seen or you may have not, depending on when this gets released.
But I think that's a testament to what it is. I think Bruce Costello was the original designer. Joseph Miranda kind of redid it, but it was just very good. I would recommend it to anybody.
And it's a game that doesn't take itself more seriously than it should, and it never forgets to be fun. And that's a lot of war games. You're like, this is such a cool simulation. This is really intense. This game's just fun as hell. Like, it's just 100%. I just enjoy playing it.
Well, and you can get both of these games on Noble Knight Games.
Yes, you can. And they're the sponsor of this monthly debrief, as they are every monthly debrief.
It's becoming a game about how long we're going to go before we mention that. We need to do better.
I need to put a big old sign on the wall that says, "Hey, dude."
Yeah.
But we'll have an official word and video from them later on, for sure. After we had concluded playing that, we played, lots of games, 1 Hour World War II from Worthington.
This is still in shrink wrap version. We played another copy.
Yes.
I don't know where that copy is. We may have left it at Mike's, unfortunately, but I don't know.
He would have said.
Yeah, he probably would have. He would have brought it back to us.
I don't know where it is.
This game is not going to be for everybody. I'm going to be honest, right? I think it's very simple, very straightforward. It's almost
extremely simple,
almost scripted. Going to be honest. I think there is some variables about the way you're going to go about certain things, but it's going to be, I think, very hard to get away from.
Yeah, in a game with so few choices, there is a very obvious optimal one, and then there's
more suboptimal ones.
If you don't want to win as badly, do something else. And it was too simplistic for me. It was too on the rails for me.
I would agree.
But I think for some people, they might be able to find something out of this to play with, people who are very new to wargaming or just don't wargame, period.
Well, there's some neat concepts in it, right? There's a reaction mechanic. There's also the way the different nations have these different abilities that they can do and their different activations. It's just, I think it's interesting, but I think it's very, very simple. It didn't strike it for us.
No, I think conceptually they had some good ideas, but the execution of it fell flat for the group that we played with. Yeah. That's the reality of it.
And there were some pretty hardcore wargamers in that group.
It's
so
true.
maybe that was part of the problem, but
Maybe.
yeah, Worthington Publishing, Clint Warren Davey, and he has a whole other bunch of these coming out, like 1 hour English Civil War and 1 hour Napoleon and 1 hour World War I. And, you know, hopefully he maybe makes them a little more deep so that they aren't as scripted.
Yeah.
But that's our opinion, right? We did not do a video on this one
No.
because we didn't feel like it would be worth our effort.
No, it didn't do, like, they tried to put it into 1 hour of World War II in a box, and you have to streamline it so much that there's not much left, is the problem with that.
Yeah.
So I hope that they're not that constrained in the same way with some of the other things they're going to do, where it's like, hey, because it doesn't need much more, it just needs a couple extra spaces. Like, the reality is that's all it needs, I think.
I think a couple extra spaces and some more challenges in where you're going to go. Because, as I said, the optimal stuff is pretty obvious. And you're going to do that every time as the Germans. You're going to do it every time as the Japanese.
Because, like, the Japanese have two choices.
China? Well, they actually had three. China, India, or Pearl. And really, China isn't worth it.
Nope.
Because it's not worth anything.
Only one of those is worth...
India gives you a star, I think, and then Pearl gives you a major star that's going to clog up the Pacific.
It gives you a star that also hurts the US. I wonder if I should do that or not.
Yeah.
Like that's just, there's just not enough space, so...
Well, and I remember one other thing. We found that when you tack the US, right, they wake up. They're now able to come in. I was like, well, I have to do it. Right? And there wasn't enough of a penalty or enough of a fear factor that stopped me as the Japanese from just wiping out Pearl.
Like,
that's my opinion.
It was fine.
Anyway.
After that, I think, did we play this one first?
Yeah, the next day we played Virgin Queen.
We played
It's falling.
They all fell.
Welcome to the Player's Aid.
Yeah.
By the way.
A nice professional outfit we've got going on here.
Yep, very professional.
Virgin Queen, we played 6-player, maxed out the player count. Always a pleasure, always a joy to play this. It's big, it's massive.
It's awesome.
And it's just really good.
I think I prefer Here I Stand, but I very much enjoy Virgin Queen. It really is a different experience.
Yeah.
I really enjoy how they've streamlined the Holy War part of it. I also enjoy some of the other stuff, like sponsoring the artists and sponsoring the architects and the engineers and the science and then the technologies that you get. I think it adds some... I'm not a big fan of the marriages. That seems like that doesn't really add much, in my opinion.
Well, I do like it, but also...
I just don't know that it's necessary.
The French get so much out of that.
Sure.
That it's like... Either we're just wheeling and dealing with the French, getting stuff, and like that's cool, or it's like everyone keep away from the French, and then it's like, is that even fun? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The marriage part, I think, is the only thing I think that it probably could do without. But
yeah, and
I love this game.
And then you get like the whole, I know it's Virgin Queen, that's like the whole point of the game.
Yeah.
But the Elizabeth and the jilting mechanic is like,
it's interesting.
We get stuff from it, but it's also like that's quite scripted because it's like, England's going to do that as much as they can to mill those points, and they're going to do it you every time, so you know it's going to happen. It's never... and there's... I don't know. It's fine.
I was happy to play the Holy Roman Empire. I had not played them. Very much enjoyed that. The Ottomans and us were very peaceful.
Yes, it was a very different kind of game, that's for sure.
Which was cool. But and ultimately I ended up winning. I have to say that because I'm very proud of that.
And I played as the Protestants, which I had played... I had played in San Diego and lost that game on an automatic Catholic religious victory.
To me.
Because I could not roll at all, period.
Yeah, your rolls were horrific. Your rolls were better this time.
They were really good.
Much better.
And I was very, very close to winning.
Yep.
An automatic Protestant religious victory, which was cool.
Had I not won on that move, I think the next couple moves you would have won.
I had the potential to win on the very next card.
Yeah, there you go.
But it probably would have taken me another one. But it was a joy. It's always a pleasure to play this. I will play, like, Here I Stand is up for next year's Basement Con.
Yep.
We'll go back to Virgin Queen the year after that. This is never going away.
Maybe we should do Virgin Queen at WBC. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down for.
Yeah, I'm down for
that's-
either or.
You never have to strong arm me into playing
Yeah.
this.
But yeah, Virgin Queen, just so good. So good that I bought a second printing copy from GMT in the sale the last, whatever, fall.
Yeah. So we started at like 9 a.m. Finished that probably.
4?
It
5?
was later than that.
5?
No, it was like 6.
It was just after
dinner.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
probably
yeah.
like 6 or 7, because then we after that set up Dune from Gale Force 9. I'm trying not to spill the bits.
Yeah, it's not a great organizer, to be honest. Well,
And we played this for
They're already
probably a couple hours.
Yeah,
I think
like
it was
2
probably
hours.
Like 2 hours.
Look at that. It's
Right.
just a disaster.
And it's funny because people used to say to me, this is either like a 15-minute game or it's a 5-hour game. And I'm like, I don't think the game, if you're playing with players who are competent, and by competent
Yeah,
I mean know the rules, and I don't think we even knew the rules that much.
Well, we had to really revisit them. I think all of us were very rusty.
Yeah, but like, it still went
rusty.
by at a really good pace.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know how this game goes 5 hours. And maybe that's people were like joking and hyperbole and
Well,
exaggerating.
does it go
but
5 hours because of Alliance? I don't know.
I don't think so, though. 'Cause
Yeah,
you don't have that same level of
It
negotiation.
says 2 hours. I mean,
Two,
right?
Yeah, it
And it
says
took
2
us
plus. Right, which
120 plus.
120
2 plus,
Which
yeah.
means it could go on
could
for
go to
infinity.
5 hours,
But that's not,
sure.
it's a fixed amount of turns, and
Yeah.
the reality is it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
And like, it's still,
And I know you don't like the game, right?
I don't love the game, though.
I enjoy it. I think it's unique and interesting. Love the combat system. Love the traders. I think that's fun. And I love the way the combat cards work, right? I'm going to kill your leader. Oh, no, you're not, because I have a blankety blank. I can't remember the name.
Right. Well, that's just it.
Snooper or a
I got
blooper.
a shield. I got this,
yeah.
that, and the other.
I don't know. I enjoy it. I think it's fun and interesting. Maybe you have to have the right group. I don't know, or be in the right frame of mind.
So you definitely have to have the right
Yeah.
group, right? Because even from like a mechanics standpoint, the game is vicious, and if you're playing with people who are going to be not liking that kind of thing,
It could be very hurtful.
you can get your hit feelings hurt real quick.
Yeah, agreed.
But like, it is a game of just killing each other.
Yeah,
and
100%.
stabbing each other in the back. That's what it is. So even from that standpoint, yeah, you definitely have to.
I would play Dune at any opportunity. I think I enjoy it that much that I would play it.
Yes, and I.
Is it my favorite Dune game? No, it's not. We've played others. Dawn of the Fremen is one that we
And that's only
really
2-player.
like.
But boy, was that so fun.
Dawn of Fremen is that 4-player game we played from Gale Force 9 with John Brum. Dune War for Arrakis is what you're thinking about.
No. Dawn of the Fremen's only 2-played.
No, it's 4-player.
Is it? Mm-hmm. I thought it was 2, and then someone
John
watched.
and Brum, and then you and I played. The game that I have from Gale Force 9.
Yeah, where was the count? That's a 4-player game?
4-player game,
Boy, my memory
100%.
of that game is not great.
And it's very good.
It was really good.
Deterministic combat.
Super fun.
I prefer that one. Dune War for Arrakis is also amazingly good.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's
And then
like a great
Dune
game.
Imperium is, I think, very unique and interesting.
And they got that new one out that's apparently really good as well.
Insurrection or something.
Yeah,
But-
I don't know. I prefer to play any one of those.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
reality of it. And then the next day,
The final day.
we had played War Room. We actually played War Room 2nd Edition. This is my first edition off the shelf.
What a piece of crap.
I know, right? It's
I mean,
hot
the
garbage.
2nd edition, frankly, is that much better. It really is. They changed enough in it that I think it works much, much better.
Yeah, they
The
definitely streamlined some of the components.
The
and
components are better.
The only thing that we ran up against is they do not give you enough infantry counters.
Which is so frustrating.
And I looked about how many I have in this game. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have more than was in the 2nd edition.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And it's hard for me to kind of gauge that. It might be the same amount.
And I think they were like 12 to 15 short, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of what-
I think at least. So
Ultimately, in the end, that's what I felt like we
I
were
had them
short.
right here because I was like, I looked through and I was like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
I could mix them. And I'm like, well, I don't own the other copy, so I didn't want to do that. But it was.
And we borrowed our brother-in-law Brum's copy. Yeah, that's more.
I think that's more, but they
think that's
packaged them
more.
differently
Yep,
in the new one,
agreed.
and I couldn't remember.
Maybe they made a mistake. I mean, maybe they shorted 10. I don't know.
But like, I looked at that and I'm like, that was a lot. And I don't remember running out last time, but we could
Sure.
have done. But that's something that I will if I ever invest in a second edition,
Just buy it. And you can,
yeah,
right?
go on
you
their
can
website. You can buy more.
You can buy more of the men. You can buy more dice. You can buy. I think you can buy more pads. You can buy whatever you want.
And I might buy some of the upgrade.
Didn't we decide that we were going
components.
to do some of that just to make ours better?
Yeah, well, yes,
Yeah.
but then I looked and I was like, oh, I don't know if I need them.
Oh, okay.
Right? That was the thing,
Got
because
it.
I have a different edition.
Sure.
So,
Well, the men you need. Well, maybe not.
but I might get
Brum
them
needs them.
anyway,
Yeah, just in
to make
case.
sure. But you know, the morale board.
Oh, it's so
It's
much
a lot
better.
of the same stuff, but they organized it
It's just
way
so much
better. And there's a few just different.
Well, I thought the
bits and
battle board is
pieces.
a little better organized. It's not terribly different, but it was a little different.
I think it's the same.
You think it's the same?
I
Maybe it's
tried to
bigger.
compare some
It's
of this
bigger.
stuff.
Isn't it bigger? No. Okay.
But it's.
I love this game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure I'm good at it in any way, shape, or form. We've now played it twice, but I do very much enjoy it.
It's fun.
It's just fun.
I have a good time playing it.
Yep.
And once I am done playing it, I have had a blast.
Well, and when I'm done playing it, I'm like, oh, can we play it again sometime?
And it's like, it's one of those games that's like, yep, I played War Room. And everyone's like, oh man, I've always wanted to play
Yeah.
it. Like, it's a joy to see on a table, and to have played
Yeah.
it is like a...
My only problem with it, right, to really play it and play it well against competent players, I think you're going to need a better part of 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, if you want to go start to finish, minimum 2 days.
Because we played about 12 hours, I think, 12 or 13 hours.
Yeah.
And we got through, how many turns did we get through?
I think 6.
6 turns. And it was becoming evident that Germany's back was broken. Japan was doing pretty damn well in the Pacific.
Although I think that was probably going to turn...
their high point.
I think so, yeah.
But it was interesting. We could have played it out for another 4 to 6 hours, but I think we decided, okay, it's...
Yeah, it's a game that's pretty easy to assess the state of the game.
Yeah.
And you can kind of feel, you know, if the Allies really gain that economic momentum and that military momentum,
It can snowball.
it's pretty much over
Yeah.
at that point.
It's just fun, though. It's fun and unique
great.
and interesting.
It's great.
I love the dice system. I just think it's fun. The colors that you're rolling. And we complained again about battleships, how powerful they are. But we used aircraft carriers right
Yeah.
for the first time. And it made a huge difference.
It does.
We also did a lot of strategic bombing. Well, I say a lot. We did it like twice, 2 or 3 times. But we're like, ooh, I think everybody was like, ooh, that's powerful. Very powerful.
But then that's a massive commitment, right?
Yeah, because you've got to build them and then you can lose them.
And you're doing, every time you're doing that, you're not doing other things.
100%.
And so there's...
like building units and invading France and
Yeah, you spend all your oil on bombers, you're not spending them on the Royal Navy, and then all of a sudden, you got problems.
You are the Italians, and I'm telling you, that's the best I've ever seen the Italians do.
Yeah.
They did really well.
It was a really good game. It was a great time.
Yep.
I had a blast. I
would play
have
that
a blast every time
Yep,
I
I
play it.
would play that again in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But anyway, War Room. And then I think we finished up, right? We told everyone bye. We went back to our hotel room.
That's right.
And you had bought that day at Miniature Market.
Look, it's holographic.
Yeah.
Ooh. This is the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game.
Which means what?
It's
When it's titled that.
It means they're doing at least the Two Towers
You would
and the Return of the
hope.
King,
And
hopefully based on sales.
Yeah, maybe something like The Hobbit or The Silmarillion. I mean, it's that good.
Because-
it's a good game.
Yeah, so if you've ever played any of these kind of modern trick-taking games, the most common, most popular one is like The Crew.
Yeah.
It's that kind of game where it's trick-taking, but there's no discussion about it, and you have objectives
Can't talk
to meet.
about your cards.
But it's both A, beautiful, like the cards are wonderful, and B, it's you play, instead of it being like random objectives or just random scenarios that are like themeless.
Well, they follow the path of the Fellowship.
Yeah, and so you
From
get
Hobbiton.
new characters
Yeah.
into them, and those characters have different, and within trick-taking terms,
Little special abilities.
thematic abilities and thematic goals. And
I very much got the feel of The Lord of the Rings. I did.
yeah, as much as you can from a trick-taking
Well,
game.
yeah, I
right?
mean, it wasn't maybe as thematic as some other games that we've played, but I actually felt the connection, the mechanics connecting to the movies. I did. I thought it was very good. And we've played 9 missions, I think, or we're on number 9, and we think there's 18.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But number 9 is one of the long ones that we're going to have to play like
over and over and over
6
and
or 7
over.
times.
Yeah. So it's more like 25.
Yeah.
But it's just that good. We've now played on 3 different occasions? 2 different occasions.
Yeah, because
We played on vacation.
we played it at Basement Con, and then we took it to Florida on vacation and played it then. I played a couple hands with my father-in-law, and he loved it.
Yeah.
He was like, yep, this is amazing.
Yeah, did he
Love
go out and buy it?
I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
he did. But we'll have to get him over and do it 3 players.
Oh,
at some
heck yeah.
point.
Because it does play 3 player.
Yes, yeah. With 2 players, you kind of have this dummy.
Which actually works really well.
Yeah, with a card pyramid, it works
Yep.
well. But 3 or 4 players where you're getting like what makes the game.
Yeah,
amazing.
1 to 4 players, yep.
Yeah, you can solo with it.
I'm going to be honest, this was pretty amazing. Like, you bought it, I thought, oh, that doesn't look that great. But when we started playing, I'm like, damn.
Well, it was
this is
$25,
good. Yeah.
and I was like, at worst, this is like a game I'd play with John, and he would love it, and we would have had a good time. But it
And
turns
it was
out
that good.
it was, because I love the crew.
I do too.
You know,
we played that last summer
Yeah.
quite a few times.
And so it's just the crew of Lord of the Rings. It's basically that,
Yeah.
but it's better.
Yeah,
And it was just,
it is.
it's really, really fun.
Well, I feel like the missions are really, really cool. They're just like, do this and do that. And, oh, you don't get to use your cards this time. You have to do this. And some of your cards are face up. Some of them are hit. I mean, it's just great.
And the way that the trump works in this is not traditional.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting, I think.
I would agree.
And it's thematic, right?
100%.
There's only one trump card in the game, and it is
The One
One
Ring.
of Rings.
Yeah.
It's great.
And whoever's dealt that One Ring is Frodo automatically.
Well,
unless Frodo's not in the scenario.
They're the ring bearer.
Well, yeah, 'cause
and
it's
so
sometimes
at
not
some
called-
point it won't be Frodo.
It's got to be Sam eventually or someone else.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or when they do the Hobbit.
Well, weren't there a couple scenarios that Frodo wasn't involved? I thought there were.
Well, when you
at
get to
least-
Bree, it wasn't the Frodo card. It was the Mr. Underhill, right?
right.
But who knows if you get into like when the Fellowship breaks
Yeah.
and like someone steals the ring. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a different ring.
Who
there.
knows?
But
Very good.
really, really fun.
Very much enjoyed
Just
it.
fun.
The final game we played of the month, and I think we played this on, what day was that? The 30th?
It was last.
28th? Yeah, it was last Friday. Before we went on vacation. It literally was
That's
the
right, it was
night
the day
before we
before
left on vacation.
Yeah.
So this is Race to Berlin, 2nd edition from Portal Games. This is coming to GameFound in April. I think it's April 16th, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's what we've discussed.
So this is a 2-player, and I think they have a solo mode, don't they? Or didn't they have? I can't remember.
This is 1 to 2 players.
Okay,
so
and
yeah.
this is a prototype, but it literally is one side is the Soviets, the other side is the Western Allies, and you are converging on Berlin trying to end the war. And it's a race. Whoever gets there first and takes them down wins the game. Now, you can win by victory points. You'll have to watch our video. We talked about, I'm not sure that's going to happen a whole lot. Unless you have
If you
someone
take
that,
Berlin, you win the game.
yeah, and that's generally what you're going to go for.
Yeah.
And it literally is, I'm going to go from France, I'm going to go northeast over the Rhine, and I'm going to go in, and then from the east, you're going to blitz through, Poland and get right in.
I think that was that line of forts was called something. I can't remember what it
Oh,
was.
okay.
But yeah, you just have to go and smash that and then get into Berlin. And
But it was very good. I very much enjoyed the mechanics. It has that concept of, as the Soviets, you're controlling the Western German forces, or OKW, right? And then as the Western Allies, you're controlling the OKH, who are fighting the Soviets. And you can spend some of your resources to help them fight and slow them down. You can't do too much because you got to keep your stuff going.
Yeah.
But it's a unique balance. Reminded us of like a Downfall, right, from GMT.
This is Downfall light. Kind of think of it that way. It's conceptually that same idea.
Yep.
And the Germans play very similarly, where they're a speed bump.
They're not great.
They're never going to stunt you,
Yep.
or if you do stunt them, it's because you are making zero progress.
Well, you're literally hoping on the defense to stop them 1 or 2 times, right? And just make it that much harder to get to Berlin. And yeah, you know what? You could get lucky because there is some dice involved. Although it's just hard for the Germans. You're not going to win a lot of
Because
battles.
this is a racing game between the Allies and the Soviets. That's what it is. The Germans happen to be there.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful game. Production is amazing. The board is incredibly good. It looks like Ticket to Ride, right? You've got these little wooden sticks that are in spaces, but it's not Ticket to Ride. Those are literally the advancing fronts.
That's the front of your army.
It's so cool.
And you have a limited amount of those pieces, so if you get these massive
bulges
and you can't make as much progress until you flatten your line out. So there's some really neat stuff built into that game, but there's a big video of that coming.
Yep. I very much enjoyed it. I had a great time with it.
So I think that's everything that we played in March. Did you do any solo gaming in March?
I really didn't.
I also did not.
Which is a crying shame.
I'm like slowly reading through the Fields of Fire rules, but
I
haven't got anywhere play-wise with that.
I felt like we played enough that I didn't have to play as much solo, but anyway.
But yeah, well, March was a very nice and good month
very
of
good
gaming.
month.
We have lots of plans for April, and we are 4 months, or we will be 4 months into the year, and I think we're going to play our first...
Our second 2025.
No, we'll play our first Shelf of Shame game.
Oh, yes. It's incredibly bad.
That's kind of where we're at with that. So let's talk about what we got coming up in
Sure. I think that's
April.
that
Oh, it's this
stack.
deck.
Yep.
Yes. So we have a few different things. So on the Shelf of Shame, we had talked about this a couple months ago, I think. We're going to play Kingdom of Heaven, a game we've had for nearly 10 years.
I bought this in 2015, clipped it, we tried it. I think our minds were not ready for it.
No, we were so new to wargaming, I couldn't even make heads or tails of the frickin' setup chart.
Right.
And it's an old MMP game, so the setup chart wasn't
great,
the most helpful.
But it's a card-driven game on the Crusades. I'm very excited. We are definitely going to try this month, and I hope. I've heard a lot of good things about it. That's one of the reasons that I bought it.
Yeah, people love it.
Yep.
And we were so new, it was very much over our heads.
Too much for
now
us.
I'm like, cool, let's get to it.
Which is hilarious because I remember we did Empire of the Sun, and I mean,
I know,
but
we're
more prepared now for this.
Oh, without question. And it looks awesome, and I'm excited to play.
Clipped and organized, and very.
And we will finally have played that, right? This is
100%.
one of our longest-standing kind of Shelf of Shame games.
Yeah, I bought that for like $40, and it's never. It sat on my shelf.
Right. We're also going to try some new games. So
2025s. This will be
Pontiac's War.
Yeah, these three, when added to Alliance, will be our 4 games into the 2025 list.
So this is this a traditional CTG?
I don't think it's traditional, but it is a card-driven game.
Card-powered game of some form.
Yeah.
So this is a point-to-point movement game covering Pontiac's War, the Frontier Rebellion, 1763 to 66. Something I don't know very much about.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to this. This is designed by John Paniski and put out by Compass Games. John's done a lot of games that cover these kinds of topics.
Yep.
So I am hoping that he's able to have injected his kind of passion and expertise into this in the way that he has in his other games, and I look forward to it.
Well, if you remember, we looked at a prototype many years ago, I think in 2017 or 18.
Our first ever WBC.
And I remember wanting it at that point, but here it is, 8 years later?
I think
7 years later.
Look on our YouTube channel hard enough.
There is.
There is a video taken in the dining hall of a Holiday Inn.
Yep, the lobby area.
Worst conceivable echoey sound quality of all time.
It's what
we had. Interview covering this game.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Go
too.
and watch that video. Let me know how it is.
Yeah.
And
the map on this one is great looking. The components are great.
I remember the prototype map.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was
It was
big case.
not great.
It was just him having done it in paint or whatever.
But
I'm
looking
excited
forward to
for
that.
We also have something we're probably going to play today.
Yeah.
Aces and Armor from PK3.
PKB.
Oh.
Yeah, PKB Games. Yeah. It looks like a 3. It really does.
It does.
But
someone in the marketing department.
Philip K. Berger is the owner of the company.
PKB Games.
Yeah.
Not PK3 Games.
No.
So we'll have a rebrand in a few years to fix the logo. I don't know much about
Well,
this game.
it's a tactical level, uses miniatures, war game. You've got the Soviets, you've got the couple types of Germans, you've got East Front Germans, West Front Germans, and then Americans and British. And you're using these little cool minis. They're really great. They're resin minis that have stands, and they have spaces to put experience points and damage points.
Like on the stands?
On
like
the
slide
stands,
them on?
yep. So as they get experience, they can improve their combat abilities, different things like that. Kind of a neat little game.
Massive amount of dice.
Yep. Neat little game. I think the
Oh,
components...
it's these little things. That's
Yes.
cute.
So they slide on they have little posts,
Yeah.
but metal coins, they're very shiny. It looks really good. I'm interested. Hex map.
Oh, those are really nice miniatures.
Oh, yeah. And those are the Soviets?
Yeah, these are the Soviets.
Yep. Those are the Americans, kind of, and British, I think.
Yeah, no, these are really, really nice.
Oh, they are really
very
nice, yep.
detailed miniatures.
But I think it's a lighter World War II games. It's scenario-based. I think there's a bunch of scenarios. I'm interested. I do know some people on our Slack channel have made some comments that the rules aren't great.
Now, we will
Because
figure
it's a
that
French
out.
company. The rule book is actually in French and English. If you flip it up, it's like English. If you flip it over, it's French. It's like
German.
German. There you go. It's like 10 pages.
Is there French rules in here as
I
well?
feel like there were, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Burger is a German name.
No, you're right.
Is he a German guy?
That's a great question. I did back this on Kickstarter because I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I think it's English and German. They have
Okay.
French, Italian, and Spanish available for download.
Got it. That's what I was getting confused.
This is totally unrelated, and probably nothing to do with what this game is. But the way that the color shading is on the map reminds me of Small World.
Oh, you 100%.
We're just, and it's just from the way that the coloring is.
Small World is a game from Days of Wonder that our father-in-law loves.
Yes.
I think it's a fun game. Yeah. It's very light.
Totally, but like this, it was the mountains specifically.
Now that you say that, I would 100%
like
agree. Yeah, 100%.
Very saturated colors, looks awesome.
Yep.
Okay, and then last up for the month-ish, Fighting Formations, U.S. 29th Infantry Division from GMT Games.
Yep.
So this game was originally designed by the late Chad Jensen. It was developed by Kai Jensen and John Foley, who kind of finished it up.
There's the
Yeah, we have
first copy.
the original.
Yep.
It's
Fighting
different,
Formations.
right?
Yes, this is totally
Like it's
separate
not,
game.
and it's not like a
standalone game.
second edition. This is
No,
volume 2.
This is volume
so to
2,
speak.
yeah,
Okay.
basically.
I have the other one. We haven't played it.
It's similar to Combat Commander in many, many ways. You can see it does use cards, but it has vehicles, right? So it's combined arms.
I think it's very different from Combat Commander, though.
I know, but it's like...
It's a tactical game.
Well, but it uses cards. So I'm saying that because it has some similarities. You're correct. He wouldn't have made an entire system that's just Combat Commander again.
I'm excited to play this.
100%.
Because whilst I have the first volume, the things that I had heard about is that it's really good, but it is a little rough around the edges. Okay. But they've worked on this
Yeah, maybe they've developed it.
And I hope that makes it much easier to kind of pick up and play.
Yeah.
Especially, the 10 years since that other edition came out.
Yeah, but I'm excited because it has vehicle counters. I mean, this is combined arms, right? So it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I just...
Very much excited about it.
I'm looking forward to this one immensely because it's something that's different.
And it's scenario-based, right? I want to say there's like...
Yeah, like it's
a
tactical
32-page scenario book. So what's that mean? There's like 12 scenarios in there, probably. 12 or 13.
It's funny that it doesn't say. I would expect
I would have expected it to say how many scenarios. But I need to clip this. I need to unbox it. I need to clip it and get it ready so we can play it this month.
Yeah, that looks great.
But I'm very excited.
So that's kind of the games that we're going to play. At the end of the month, however, we will be going to Buckeye Gamefest. Mm-hmm. And so Buckeye Gamefest straddles the last weekend of this month and the first weekend of next month.
Yep.
So there's a few things that we're just going to loosely talk about games that will get played there.
Yep.
Whether or not they're technically in the month or not is a different question.
Yeah. Because it does, like you said.
Yeah.
I think we're going on the 29th, the evening of the 29th, and I think it's over on Sunday the 3rd.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
So
May 3rd.
this year we have decided we're going to do a Time of Crisis teach and play in place of our coin teach and play. And that's because we've taught everyone how to play coin at that
Yeah. Yeah, there's only about 75 people that really come, so maybe 100. But we've played with many of them. We wanted to do something different.
Yeah, and Time of Crisis is one of those games that's also both easy to teach and easy to play.
And it's fun.
Plays in a fixed amount of time.
2
it's
hours.
Great for an event. But also, you can either go out and buy the new deluxe version that's coming, or you can play it on Rally of the Troops, which costs you no money if you want to kind of dive on in, and we'll teach you how to play it, but then you can go and play it elsewhere. Very accessible, very easy.
Very good game.
Love this. Really looking forward to playing more of that. I love teaching this game. I love playing this game.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a blast.
We're going to do kind of our big game, amongst other games.
Yeah.
We're going to play Successes, and this is 4th edition, I believe, from Phalanx. So, ironically, we played Successes 2 years ago at Buckeye Gamefest.
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
And we played one scenario, and we basically played like one whole turn, one whole hand of cards. I'm pretty sure that's all we did. And it took a long time because we were all new and learning.
We had like 5 of us at the table, right? So it was.
I think we maxed out.
We were all learning together,
and so.
But it was very good. What we did was very good.
But it was also. I guess I hadn't really understood necessarily what the game can be or what. So I had picked a scenario that was like, here's a 5-player scenario that's short.
Yeah.
And it was a very late game scenario, and so a bunch of the cool stuff has like already happened.
Yeah.
And so we were having
sweet minis.
We're having fun, and it was a good time. But I'm like, I'm just gonna set up the whole game, and like we'll just go as long as we can, and that way we get
we'll
a
experience
much
everything.
more Successes experience.
So this one's designed by Mark Simonich, right?
Yes, and Richard Berg.
And I enjoyed very much what we did. What we were doing, I enjoyed it. It just took a long time because no one had played it before. But
and it's like I wasn't really sure. Strategically, what on earth I should really be doing, and what's the value of things and all that. So I desperately want to get back to it. I'm looking forward to doing more of this, and we'll get a big game of that in for sure. And then I also have Nations and Cannons. We're going to do an event of this for sure.
Probably on Friday night. Isn't that what we decided?
I think that's what we decided, because earlier than that, half the people aren't there.
Yeah.
So Nations and Cannons, if you do not know, is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition module that takes those rules and puts them into the
American
18th
Revolution.
Century. Yeah. And I have loved every time we've played this.
Yeah.
I've GM'd 2 of them, I think, now.
Yep. This would be our third.
This will be the third one, and I just love it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
You get to do D&D stuff and role playing, but in a historical setting,
based in reality, a historical setting. Although we have pushed the envelope and made it a little fantastical, but that's fun.
But there's rules for that.
Yeah.
And so we're going to run another session of this for sure.
And I think we're doing 2 tables with our friend Cullen.
Yes.
He's going to DM one group of, say, 4 or so, and you're going to do another group of 4, and I'm going to play with that group. And
just because if I only do one table of, then people get like 6 or 7 players, and then I don't like managing that many as a DM. I don't like that.
It's hard.
And so we're going to split tables and do 2 of those so we can get people, because I also think this is a game, especially when we first announced it a couple of years ago, did the first one, I didn't really, it was a closed event because I just wasn't sure how it was going to go.
Right.
And I had so many people asking, can I join?
Yeah,
and
we were like,
oh,
no.
not this year, not the first time, just let me do it.
Yeah.
But it's been successful, people have enjoyed it, we're expanding what the scope of this is and being able to seat more people, so I look forward to doing more of this for sure.
I think we also are going to try to, again, play Red Dragon Green Crescent some more.
It's buried,
We already
so
talked about that. We're also going to, I'm going to bring Proxy War. It's a 2 to 8 player game that looks very unique and interesting. There's an unboxing video on our YouTube channel that just went up like a week ago.
How long does that take to play?
2 hours.
Okay, I thought it was
2 hours.
but I wanted
now,
to...
new people, it's probably going to be like 2.5 hours.
But like it's not like a
No,
7-hour game
No.
like some of these big
There's a
things.
very defined way that it's going to end, and it's not going to... But it looks very interesting and unique. I'm very excited about it, and it is very cynical, right, about warfare and how... It's just very interesting.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about it, so I'm excited to
It's
experience.
dark and satirical based on the realities of our world,
Yes.
right? There are 4 major powers. There are 4 kind of insurrectionist powers. They're working together but against each other, and I think 1 major power and 1 insurrectionist will win every game.
That's pretty cool.
So it looks good, and it's simple. You've got some weapons and some men, and you've got some control markers, and you're trying to mill resources to buy ammo and guns and making alliances. It looks very fun.
And then, yes, there will be also other games that we play. We got a long list of them. But
Well, I know Herman Lettman's going to be there. We would like to play a game or 2 with him. Don't know what that will be. David Thompson will be there. I'm going to get into a game of Case of the Catalans with Russ. That's a game that I own. He loves it. I want to learn it. So who knows? We'll play a bunch of games. I'm going to be honest.
yeah,
we'll probably get 10
We talked about
games
4 or 5, but we've got a list of probably 9 or 10 that we
and we're
have talked
showing,
about.
We're showing up like Tuesday night at 7 or so. We'll probably play for a couple of hours. We'll play all day Wednesday. People will show up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll do our events and then pack up and leave Sunday afternoon. So
I think that's everything that we're going to play in April.
yes,
Yes.
that's 100%.
Well,
if we get
are
all
we
that,
gonna
that would
play
be
this,
amazing.
or is
Well,
that
I brought this. This is a solo game. I think I've been saying I'm going to play it, but
We'll definitely do it.
it's now stickered. It's been organized. I've read the rules, so I just need to get it to the table. But Iwo Jima 1945 from Worthington. This is I think it's called like the Island Hopping Series or something like that. But it's the same game as Tarawa, where it kicks your ass.
Just incredibly
for
difficult.
45 minutes,
just
and you
punishing.
cry, and then you set it up and you play it again. So I'm excited about it. I just need to get it. I just need to get off my dead rear end and play the dang game.
Yes.
So
I think that's everything we're looking forward to in April. I'm sure there will be other games played,
yeah.
both solo or digitally as
Yep.
well.
Well, we'll always do Rally the Troops and other stuff.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, ooh, I'm traveling for business, so I might see if I can't get together and play something, but I'm not
When are
really
you
sure.
traveling again? This month?
Not this coming week, but the week after.
Okay. So the
So-
week before we go to Buckeye Game Fest.
No, there's a week in between.
There's a week,
those
okay.
days, yeah. So, but I might try and organize a game.
Okay. Well, I also wanted to talk about a couple of games that we bought recently,
Yes.
that we acquired. So this one came from our friends at Noble Knight Games. This is called With the Hammer, and I'm going to read that tagline right. It's Thomas Munzer, and the German Peasant War in Thuringia.
Thuringia.
Doesn't that sound like an amazing, very compelling game?
It sounds like an essay.
Yeah, but it's a cool little game designed by Ray Weiss.
Point-to-point game, it looks
yep.
like. It looks awesome.
And it literally is about lords trying to levy armies from the peasants while they're also trying to be...
Oh, it's a mounted map.
Yeah, it's that's why it was a little more... This was like a $75 game.
I
Has a
didn't
lot of
know it was
wood, has a
mounted.
lot of dice, nice cards, and a mounted... Doesn't it have wood? Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, there's wood.
Yeah, the little wood pieces. They have stickers that go on them and that
okay.
kind of thing. But I'm excited about that. I'm going to take it home, read up on it, and we'll try to play that sometime this year. But it looks good. And we got that from Noble Knight.
I think the German Peasant War is like a card in Here I Stand.
Oh, okay. And you can see it's the 500th anniversary of the German Peasant War. So kind of a cool thing, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that why we play war
plays
games?
up to 7 players.
Does it really?
It says 1 to 7 players.
Well, maybe we should take it to Buckeye Game Fest, maybe.
I think we probably have to now.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was 1 to 7.
Oh, that's so interesting. Fred Serval was the developer on this game.
Oh, okay. They have struck up a friendship because of Ray's use of the trick-taking mechanic in a very civil whist. Remember the Great Northern War? Which war, again? We'll get made fun of or mocked. We're not mocking, but they've worked together, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well,
Yeah.
if that... we're going to have to...
Yeah, we'll
read
give it
through
a try.
that and...
But we bought this on Noble Knight. I was excited about 2025 game. right? Very much looking forward to that. The other game that I'm now a little bit, I'm going to be honest, underwhelmed by, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I gave it a shot, right? So this is...
We tried.
We tried. Invasion Normandy from historicalboardgaming.com. So this is a very small, I would call them boutique publisher. They really only focus on these Axis and Allies style, big kind of grand strategy war games that use Axis and Allies pieces. Now, the box doesn't contain any Axis and Allies pieces. And I knew that when I bought it, but I thought I was getting counters. And now I realize that we're not getting counters.
No, there's if you got a rack of cardboard counters, that'd be awesome. You do not. You do get
a cool water bottle,
a water canteen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like literally just some
control markers,
a sheet of control markers, all the play aids, a rules book that is spiral bound, which is nice.
Yep.
That is all you get.
A couple of player aids, I think, and a battle board.
The box you have to buy separately,
which is like $30, which this is not. Yeah.
And then the map doesn't come with the game.
Well, it's rolled up in a tube,
which is somewhere else.
Yeah, it's right here.
So you buy the game,
and it's big.
You buy the map. This is the smallest map.
It was the smallest one because I was like, I don't need one that's so big.
And you have to buy the box separately.
Put it up. Sorry.
And then you don't get any of the game pieces.
Yeah.
And again, they're upfront about that, and we knew that.
They are. Yep.
But I couldn't find online what the game pieces were that you need. It looks awesome.
Well,
the
it
game
does.
Looks fun.
I mean, that's why I was interested in
I just
it,
have
right?
to figure out.
What is this? Is this?
I don't know what it is, but it's
a nylon?
I don't know.
Is that what you call this material?
It feels like a plastic.
Okay.
But it's very nice.
Well, and you can see this is a huge map of all of the beaches, and it's bigger than this, at the Normandy invasion in 1944, World War II. But they give you a list of pieces that you need to source.
This is their first foray into Hex Encounter.
Right.
All their other games are like literally Axis and Allies style maps, big
Agreed.
areas, like it's like a country is a space. So this has a much different tactical feel to it and looks really cool. I've been watching some of the YouTube videos on it.
I know. We just need to.
I got to knuckle
Now I'm gonna
down.
have to spend $100 to try to get the miniature pieces. Right.
If it's that much, I think it will be
$200.
at least 2, if not.
Yeah, because there's
closer
like
to 3.
Ooh, got ink on it, but there's like you need like 40 infantry.
Well, you need Germans, you need Americans, British, and Canadians.
Yep.
That's 4 different colors of units.
Which is awesome.
It is.
It's incredible.
But
I just need to figure out where I'm going to get those pieces.
But like for the Germans, 85 infantry units.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot.
But then you also need 6 static infantry units, which I presume just look different.
Sure.
4 airborne units. Again, a different type of man.
Yeah.
10 mechanized,
Jägers, right?
4 engineers, 2 medics, 25 artillery, 7 medium armor, 7 heavy armor, 5 fighters, 9 fortifications, 6 flak batteries, 6 radars, 11 Goliaths, 2 railroad guns, and then 60 of those gray plastic poker chips.
Right.
That's just for the Germans.
Then you've got the Americans and the Canadians and the British.
Yeah. So
and they each have like
they each
30
have
or 40
all
units.
of that stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They have totals here. So the Allies need 90 infantry and 12 airborne and 39 mech infantry. And that's insane.
It
is a lot of stuff we have to buy.
Where can I go? Now, I can buy some of it on their website. Some of it.
In theory, you can buy all of it on their website as
can't.
long as it's all in stock.
I can't find it.
That's the issue.
I can find a couple pieces.
That the website's a little bit of a pain to navigate. And then to find it all and for it to all be in stock. Yeah. And then they sell like this, because I have spare sets of Axis and Allies from an old copy that I brought over from the UK, and I don't have the box, I don't have any of the stuff for it, I just have the pieces. Because I figured, hey, one day we'll need the pieces, it'll be fun.
Well, you know why I bought this,
but there's not enough to even make a dent
in it. The reason I bought this is because I do enjoy Axis and Allies. I think we both do.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a light, Ameritrashy war game. But I do enjoy these multiplayer, grand strategic. I do. I enjoy
War Room, right?
Yeah,
we love
I love them.
War Room.
why this would be amazing to have all the little. I just got to figure out how to get it done. If you could help me, that would be amazing because you're better at this.
I'm trying.
I know.
I'm really trying. I've been on that website and I'm like,
I know.
But
anyway, there you go. Invasion Normandy, and this is a brand new game. This came out in like a month ago.
So we are going to
try to source it,
try to make it all work,
and then we'll try
to can get it all.
Yeah,
I have very high hopes for this.
Well, I do too, and we're gonna do like Ron Burgundy, and we're gonna throw out a clarion call to the squad.
Yes,
and we're gonna try to get 4 or 5 of us together.
I think
and play it.
Does
sometimes.
it play?
Well, I would assume it's 4.
I just don't know if it's like a 2-player game or not.
It doesn't really say much on the
maybe in the well.
But I mean, you figure someone can control the Canadians, someone can control the British, someone can do the Americans, and then you could probably have 2 players do the Germans, right? You've got enough guys there.
That's just it, though. I don't know.
Who knows?
We'll have to check the rules to see if that's reasonable to do.
Anyway, I was excited about it. We bought it, dropped about $150 on this. It was too much. I'm just going to be honest, but they are a small boutique publisher. You got to keep that in mind.
The map is not paper. It's not.
It's nice.
Like
it's big.
That's nice.
And that was the smallest.
Yes.
I could have gotten, but that's bigger than we'll ever need.
Apparently, the size up is the way to go. Is what I'd heard.
The what?
The size up from that's the way to go. Now,
but see, they didn't even have that on their website explaining that would be the best way to do it.
There's like small, medium, and large.
Always go medium.
On the video of the guy just like going through it, he's like
Kevin Purdy or Ken.
I can't remember which one of those guys it was because they've all got YouTube channels. They were like, the medium's great. The large is like
too big.
You can get away with not doing the large.
Got it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's
I bought
an adventure for another day. We're gonna work on it.
I was excited about it, and I'm glad that we pulled the trigger. Thank you for agreeing with me, and we're going to see how it turns out.
That's if you've played any of those and have any advice on like how to like go about just purchasing all that stuff and navigating that website in any meaningful way, or if I give you the manifest and you want to do it for me.
Yeah, that would be. Well, I got in on Google, right, and I just typed in like sourcing Axis and Allies type plastic miniatures. And there's a lot of websites that come up, but they don't have some of the stuff they said you need, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a rail gun. But I looked on their website, I can't find where they should have a place that says, buy a rail gun here, or...
There should be a page on the website that says, Invasion Normandy, pieces.
All the pieces. $200 and you get everything.
And here's the pieces you need.
Yeah. Well, and even more than that, it should just be... Here's all 290 pieces you need for $300 or whatever it is. $200.
But even if you didn't want to do that, because that's a lot of organization on their side.
Why wouldn't you do that if you're trying to do a business?
I agree.
I mean,
but at worst, you should have a page where it lists.
Yeah,
it's just the pieces, and you buy like I want 75 of those, I want 10 of those, I want 5 of those, 2 of those.
Yeah,
but it's only the things from that game, which is the new game that you're trying to launch and sell. Please.
Yeah.
Help me out. Help me.
Help me help
money.
You. Yeah. Because I want to spend some money. I've got some money that I want to spend. My wife's okay with it. And I'm just like, let's do it. But it's been a struggle. So anyway, those are a couple of games that I think we acquired this month that I was excited about.
Yes. That are a little outside the norm.
Yeah. I'm excited for both of those, frankly.
Agreed.
Let's do Kickstarter real quick. I don't think we need to talk a lot about it. You can go on the blog and find the Wargame Watch, but there's quite a few Kickstarters this month. So, Moscow 41 Soviet Aviation and Strategic Tools expansion for Vento Nuovo. Looks really good. There are Race to Berlin on GameFound, the one that we showed. That's coming on April the 16th. You have Song for War, Mediterranean Theater from Invicta Rex Games coming on the 23rd. I don't know if you remember, we saw that at Buckeye Gamefest 2 years ago. Looks very interesting and unique. It's going on Kickstarter. What was the other one? A Most Fearful Sacrifice, 4th printing. It just ended, so I don't think you can pledge now.
Like backing or
I think they have. You can go on their website and buy it. And what are some of the other ones? Oh, then a Combat Commander Vietnam, but that's not a Kickstarter. Huey Leader from
yeah.
Dan Verson Games.
I'm excited for that. I'm really excited
and
for
that one is close to 100,000. I think they're at like 85 as of today, and they've still got, I don't know, 3 or 4
that game
weeks.
looks awesome.
Yep.
Because it's more of that Thunderbolt Apache leader style,
Yeah.
which was so good, but it's Vietnam.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
That sounds awesome. The other Vietnam War game is the Battle for Hamburger Hill, Operation Apache Snow, from Cadet Games, and it's currently on GameFound. It looks really good. It uses counters, not miniatures like the other ones.
They moved to counters. That's
So
interesting.
they've moved to counters. I'm not sure if they moved to counters because they just wanted a change or
But it's probably too expensive
price-wise.
at this point, yeah.
And then the only other one was Engine Thieves from Compass Games, designed by Wes Crawford. That actually ended, I think, yesterday or the day before, so a week ago when they're watching this. But I think you can probably do a late pledge. We ended up buying U.S. Grant. What was the one that we bought? We bought the American Civil War game with that. We discussed it. I went ahead and bought that as well. I can't remember.
There was a couple.
Yeah,
I
we bought one
remember
of
the
them.
discussion. I can't remember what we
Yeah.
decided in the end.
But those are the ones that are on Kickstarter that I'm aware of, so...
The other thing that
quite a
we
lot
did
out
is
there.
that we backed the upgrade kit for the new edition of Reichbusters.
Reichbusters. That's an awesome game.
Reichbusters is
awesome
a very trashy,
It's down here. I
very
can see it.
pulpy dungeon crawler.
It's so good.
It actually reminds me a lot of SAS Rogue Regiment,
Sure.
but instead of it being
Well, it's
realistic,
Nazi zombies.
it's like Nazi zombies.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
and it's freaking awesome.
It's awesome. We've played it 3 or 4 times. We played it with your son.
Yes.
And I think he liked it.
Oh, he loved it. But
So-
conceptually, it's a lot of similarities between those two
Sure.
games. But they're doing a new edition with a few extra bits and pieces, but like a ton of new missions and
Yeah,
maps
yeah.
and things like that. But the reality is I've got all the first edition stuff,
Well, and
so I'm getting
we,
a second edition upgrade.
didn't we end up buying a bunch of the extra stuff at Gen Con, like doors and gates? And,
Because we missed the first Kickstarter.
Right.
And so when we went to Gen Con, we just
Bought
bought the
everything.
all-in
Yeah.
package effectively.
all the minis, all the different little things. But that game is quality fun.
Yeah.
It's just straight, trashy
yeah.
fun. Anybody that plays that, if they don't like it, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because it's just that good. It's just that
fun.
good.
It's just fun. And you just
So, yeah,
running
it's a
around,
blast.
shooting guys, blowing things up.
What's not to like about that?
Yeah.
And it's got cool miniatures.
Yeah, it does.
You painted most of yours, didn't you?
I started to paint
to.
some of them. I should probably
I-
make an effort to finish those before.
I had a
that
blast
comes.
with that. We need to probably play that again in our spare time.
Yes.
So,
I think that was the other Kickstarter that
That you were
actually,
aware of.
participated in.
and then
Excuse me.
I have a bunch of other Kickstarters that are coming, but I'll do unboxing.
Yeah, we're waiting for Company of Heroes 2.
How much longer are we going to wait? It's been like 17 years.
That's probably going to be a July, August, September
Okay.
delivery because they were like halfway through production, or they were doing the actual boxing and palleting, but then the 3 weeks of Chinese New Year hit,
game.
so
Yeah.
it will start to leave China.
In the next month or two.
And then it's the 6 weeks
So
on the
probably
boat,
June, July,
and then it's-
August. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm desperately
forward to
looking
that.
forward to that.
Yep, that'll be something we play the heck out of this summer.
Maybe that's a WBC game.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it comes in a
'Cause it
big
can- yep.
crate and we can transport that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, other than that, I think that's all the Kickstarters that I am aware of or involved in, that's
Okay.
for sure.
Yep.
So what we will do now is have an official word from our sponsor, Noble Knight Games.
Here at Noble Knight Games, we've been carefully growing the world's largest selection of board games, role-playing games and dice, war games, miniatures and paints, card games, and more, going on 25 years now. Our rustic castle contains more game and hobby goodness than you can shake a stick at, complete with careful packaging and the finest customer service the land can provide. You can buy, sell, trade from anywhere in the world, just like nature intended. Noble Knight Games.
So a big thanks and a big shout out to Noble Knight Games for sponsoring this video and sponsoring this channel. They do great work. And
Yeoman work.
We spend lots of money with it.
We do.
Buying new games. As part of that, I picked up the Skirmisher Volume 3 for about $30.
Was that the one that I was supposed to get you, but didn't get it?
No, so
Okay.
the one you were supposed to get me any of the ones I didn't have.
Okay.
And because I
And I
only
bought
had Volume 4.
2 of the
and
same
you
ones.
bought me Volume
Yeah,
4.
I know. I'm an idiot.
It's okay.
I was alone at WBC.
I didn't
with
know
no
it was-
supervision. Yeah, and it was crazy. There was people everywhere,
Was.
counters and dice and everything flying, and I just had to get what I
Yeah,
could
so
get.
I picked up Volume 3 because that was the cheap one because it doesn't actually have any, like, counters with it. It's just
Okay.
a magazine with a bunch of scenarios and extra cool
Nice.
stuff in it. Yeah, Noble Knight has all the things that you want. If they have all the out-of-production stuff, if you want to pay the prices, you can go for it because
Yeah.
they have it available. They also have regular pre-order stuff, like you can buy any of the
Yeah.
games that we've pretty much talked about.
Like with the Hammer, that's a brand new game, came out about a month ago, and they finally got it, and they've got multiple copies. So
Yeah,
they have it all.
They do pre-orders of all the big war game companies. They do distribution, or like they'll buy lots of all the European stuff that's
Yeah.
normally really expensive to get a hold of.
Yeah.
They will have that at much more reasonable prices. half
By the
time.
way, I don't know if you follow them on. I don't think you're on Facebook, are you?
I am not on
I am
Facebook.
on Facebook, but they posted, I think, recently some pictures of a new expansion to their warehouse. It's like they're expanding.
So are they expanding the lot they already have, or are they
I'm
going
not sure.
to a new
I'm
location?
not sure. That I'm not sure about. But they were like, "We're growing," you know, and it's
Love that for
because. But that place is literally like the National Archives, or that place where Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Ark was taken. It's just huge. And I had a blast there when we went a couple of years ago. We're talking about maybe going
Yeah,
this fall.
we'll probably definitely do that. in
I
the
don't
end.
know how we're going to fit it in with our plans. Buckeye Gamefest, WBC, Essen Spiel
It'll-
in Germany and France.
It'll be much later
Yeah.
in the year for sure, but it's
It'll be fun. We'll do it. We can't go in like November, December because they'll have a foot of snow. We'll never make it.
yeah, that's
die.
Yeah,
We don't want to die on the way up. That'd be a good way to go, though. I mean, if you have to go, I guess that's. I shouldn't joke about that. It's pretty morbid. Let's cut that out.
but Noble Knight Games, there's worse places, right?
That's their motto. There's worse places.
They're like, what do we sponsor these guys?
Well, I've ruined it for us.
So we'll move on to the broader topic of today's
Yeah.
debrief discussion.
I'm interested to see how this topic goes.
Well, this one's just kind of a bit more fully opinion-based, by the way.
Isn't everything we do opinion-based? There's no factual.
No, but like last month when we talked about the accessories we have those accessories. You can buy those, right?
Right.
That was a more informational, educational piece. This is just like, here's some things I think,
Commentary. Sure.
you know what they are. So today we're going to talk about the Criterion collection of wargaming.
Right. The Criterion collection, though, is for films.
Yes.
Right. There's like a.
So for legal reasons, this video might not be called that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We got to come up with some name. We got to call it. But it's about games that have been impactful, or in games that have been impactful are considered classics. Some old classics, some new classics.
Yeah.
And why they're important kind of to the wargaming hobby.
Yeah, and this is like the Criterion collection. When someone goes in, they pick the ones that they think
Yeah.
are those things. This
It's
is
their
what
personal
we
choice.
consider
Yeah.
are like classics and really good or representative and things
And
like
we
that.
tried to pick like 6 or 7 games a piece. You did like 5, I did like 10. But
Well,
there are
because-
so many games.
And
we
I
could
tried to
add.
be like, hey, here's just a few because we could go on forever.
This could be a 4-hour video.
And so
I don't want
trying to keep it reasonable.
Yeah, yeah.
So this topic was suggested by one of our patrons. If you would like to suggest topics, that is something that's available to our $5 patrons or above. I make a post every month on Patreon, and guys suggest topics, and we pick one of those typically.
Who was it that suggested it? this time?
That
Do
is
you
a great
remember?
question. My phone is not with me, so I apologize. Oh, it's on your phone. I text you the picture. It's a screenshot, and so it has his name on it.
Okay, well, keep talking while I. You're right, you did do that. didn't
So
you?
I was thinking about like putting them on the shelves and pulling them off like the celebrities
Jonathan.
do. Jonathan, thank you.
We're just going to say Jonathan.
We're not going to dox him like
Ooh,
I've done in the past.
I like his. He's got a counter for his. What do you call that? Avatar.
Yes. And indeed, that is from Empire of the Sun. That is an
Oh,
Empire
yeah,
of
you're
the Sun
right. You're
canton.
right. That's pretty neat. It's a bomber.
Jonathan has extremely good taste.
He does.
In avatars.
Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you.
So I think we'll just kind of dive right into this.
Sure.
Because
there's no criteria that we're using to
No.
systematically go through games in our catalog and lexicon of games played, but we're just identifying games that we have really enjoyed. We think they are important games and that they are worthy of recognition.
And that is important to note that we have played.
There's so many games on this that could be on the list.
There
but
will be a million games that
Yeah.
you yell and scream at.
Why not
the
this
screen.
one? Yeah.
Half of them is we haven't played them. There's
Yeah.
just we haven't got there
I
yet.
think that's always our default. We just haven't played everything. We've been doing this for 9 years, and it's almost 9 years. It's crazy, by the way. This month, the 16th.
This month is 9 years.
9 frickin' years.
Yeah, it's 25. Next year's
never-
10 years. That's right.
I'm
we
never,
talked about that too.
I'm never going to get those 9 years back.
You know what?
Ever.
There's worse things
Never.
to have spent 9
No,
years
you're correct. But it's not every game's going to be included. I would also say that we could have named systems, but we focused on games. Some of them are systems.
Yeah, or some of them will reference systems from things.
Right.
That's,
Well, I mean, off the top, I like BCS, SCS. Those are, to me, Criterion Collection systems.
yeah, you could pick
They're
one
amazing.
SCS game, and that could be a really great Criterion.
I don't know how you pick just one, though. They're all so good. But we also have like the 40X series on here. We have some of the Commands and Colors. I mean, I don't know. These are just classic games that need to be recognized and included on some kind of list.
Yeah,
like
of
this.
what we think is part of that kind of prestige set of games. So, first off, before we dive on in, I know we've rambled.
No.
I would like you guys to put in the comments your Criterion picks. I want to, because if you do that now, pause the video. I want to see what you guys suggest
what you guys came
and
up
see
with.
if we have any crossover, because that's interesting. Or just like what you guys think and then compare that to what we've put on the list as well.
Sure.
So let us know in the comments what your Criterion picks would be. So do you want to start?
Sure.
Just dive on in.
Well, I'm going to dive on in with this one. In my mind, I love tactical games. You love tactical games. In fact, that's what we cut our teeth on, I think, right? Some of the first games we played were tactical level war games. Combat Commander, to me, is like a fine wine. It gets better the more you play it. It gets better with age, and as they expand. You know, this is European. We also have Med, the Pacific. We have multiple of the battle packs.
And Vietnam's on the way.
Well, and they recently announced Vietnam, and that thing got like 1,200 orders
And it
the
looks
first
amazing.
day. But there's a reason, right? And there are people that hate Combat Commander. I get it. One of our friends, Mike, would not play this game if his life depended on it.
That's probably true.
He doesn't like the randomness. He doesn't like the lack of control. Those, in fact, are two of the things that I enjoy the most about it.
Yeah.
I enjoy having to use your cards to somehow make something good out of what you got, and bluffing and waiting, you know. And then the other concept is when you're on that defensive side that I love is, oh, I'm going to delay and I'm just going to make you reshuffle your deck over and over again because that's how the game's going to end, right? So I'm going to take every damn shot I can, and the game's just that good.
Yeah.
It's light, it's fun, it's chaotic, it's interesting, and it's classic.
There's a reason that there's a tournament of this every year at WBC.
100%.
Right? It's got a lot of staying power with a lot of people, and it does. It's not, there's no vehicles, right? So it's not combined arms in that way, but
It's
it does
just
squad
men.
tactics in a really fun and digestible way. You get a lot of chaos, you get a lot of moments, and each game weaves a wonderful narrative
100%.
that isn't bogged down in mechanics.
Yep. And really, to be honest, it's based on ASL, right? ASL was the genesis for Combat Commander. I think Chad wanted to make a more approachable, little lighter, and I think he succeeded, right? There's moments here where you're screaming and you're crying and
every time you don't draw the card, you're like,
I need a fire
pull my
card and I
eyes
didn't.
out.
But you know, when somebody becomes a hero, or you make a lucky shot, like a shot that I have to pull like I don't know, an 8, a 9 or higher, and I do, and that's amazing. It's just that good. I enjoy it that much. I would play Combat Commander for the rest of my life every single day if we didn't run
if that was an option.
Yeah, I would. I just enjoy it that much. Because we've played it about 30 or 40 times, and we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, there's tons of other battle packs.
Yeah, there's
other
so much to
missions.
this.
Yeah,
You could, this could be a lifestyle game if you
100%.
wanted it to be.
Similar to ASL, it could be a lifestyle game, a more affordable lifestyle game. But I think this belongs on any Criterion list because it's just that good. It's just that classic. Combat Commander.
So I think I'm going to go with this game.
Yep.
So this is Battle Cry from Avalon Hill.
And before you get into it, I want to thank, remember Ryan Heilman?
Yes.
He literally sent this to, this was years ago, like 5 years ago, maybe
Something like
6
that.
years ago. But he deals in older games, classic games, and this showed up on our doorstep. And I was like, oh, Ryan, that was very, very kind, because we were trying to play all the Command and Colors style games, and this was one that we didn't have.
Yeah, and
So-
I think he'd overheard us talking about
I think
that,
he had,
or,
yep.
or we mentioned it on a video,
And just sent it.
He sent a copy of this to us. So this is Battle Cry.
So he bribed us, yes.
Yeah, designed
Whatever.
by Richard Borg. This is
Not
kind
Richard Berg.
Nope.
You got to be careful with that.
This is kind of the birth of that Commands
Yes.
and Colors series.
That has spawned, what, like 10 different...
Oh gosh,
I
yeah.
mean-
There's Ancients, Medieval, Samurai, Napoleonics, Memoir 44, The Great War,
Battle Lore is the
Battle
fantasy
Lore.
one.
Red Alert,
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many.
and this is 9. I think
Yeah,
there's 9.
it's
There's
crazy.
probably a 10th one I'm forgetting, and shame on me. But
Yeah, and we have the Crusades right there.
Yes.
We still haven't played that one from GMT, but we need to.
But this is such a simple system.
Yep.
You draw your little cards and you play in either of the lanes and you move your guys and you roll some dice and then you hit.
Yep.
But this ACW game was the first one of those, and it has great little miniatures that are plastic and you move them around. Memoir 44, also great little plastic minis.
We couldn't decide which one. You wanted Battle Cry, I wanted Memoir 44. So.
Yeah, and I picked this
They're
because
both
it was
great.
the first
Yeah,
one.
it's the first one.
And because I think a lot of people played this younger, and this was a genesis
Agreed.
for a lot of people.
Well, I think this was the first one, and then this one I think was the one that I think really energized the system and made it more widespread.
Well, World War II is a more
People love World War
broader
II.
topic.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep.
Who likes ACW? That's
I mean, we do, but
yes, but like
Yeah.
that's not.
yeah, it's not
I can't
as
sell this at. I can't sell this
Agreed.
at Target.
You can sell this
right?
at Target.
This is much
Yeah.
more. More people have interest in it.
yes.
But I really enjoyed playing this game.
Oh yeah.
It was wonderful, and it was cool to play kind of the original and like see
Yeah.
where it's very simple.
Yes.
But seeing that this is what the base is and where everything's kind of shot off from, and the different chromes they've added and things like that, it's just wonderful to play with. And so you could put any of the Commands and Colors on here.
Yeah.
Right. Something like Ancients is a classic.
I think
Napoleonic's a classic.
all of them belong on the list. It's just we had to pick one or two.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say about this is and you said it, I love how the different games approach things differently. They're almost all unique in several ways.
Oh yeah, they all have their own thing.
This one has miniatures, which I think is really cool. This one has miniatures.
And they're like real cool and
oh
nice
yeah.
miniatures.
Well, they have little flags and I don't know. Just a great game. What? That's been on my shelf since we played it a couple of years ago, and I need to organize it a little bit. It's sad to me that sometimes they don't make these. Although this one's pretty good. This thing really helps.
Yeah, this
right?
is pretty cool.
Pretty sharp. But yeah, I will play Commands and Colors. Fill in your favorite version.
Yeah.
Pretty much at any time. We've got the Crusades, which I think is the Crusades that we wanted.
Yeah,
Not the one that we got a couple
Well,
of
the
years
Crusades
ago.
is the medieval expansion.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
right. But this system is just classic. You've played this with your wife.
Yep.
I don't know that she liked it because Kelly's not,
Because she doesn't like war games.
because she doesn't like games that aren't phase 10.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, or dominoes. But anybody can play these. Anybody can put them on a table. They will be a significant entryway into the wargaming hobby for a lot of people. A lot of people start in this way and they just grow and expand. And,
Yeah,
and
like-
they're just fun.
My brother, who plays a lot of Euro games, he has this and he plays it with his sons.
Got it.
And his sons are like
8.
6 and 8.
Okay.
And currently they are like he's letting his kids paint the miniatures.
Okay.
And so it's going to be a wonderful memory for them to have painted that set together.
Well, and isn't that how they will then morph into a little more serious wargamers probably down the line? Because
think so.
history will intrigue them. It'll prick their interest and they'll want to learn more. And that's kind of the way, these are good genesis for that.
I think that's part of what makes them so valuable in a collection like
Yeah.
this. Yeah, the system's great and it's approachable and it's easy
Yeah.
and it's nice. But I think it's a great gateway as well. I think that's valuable to have in a Criterion style collection.
Your favorite commands and colors on 3. 3, 2, 1, Napoleonics.
Napoleonics.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that. I love Napoleonics. It's followed second by
3, 2, 1. Red
Ancients.
Alert.
Okay. And I love Red Alert too. So,
And I think my third is Samurai.
oh, that was such a good one.
That's so good.
That was so very good. Yeah, anyway, it's a significant, I think, monumental system that has really created a lot of wargamers.
Agreed.
And that's kind of why it belongs on the Criterion list, or whatever we're calling this,
Whatever
for
this is.
trademark purposes. The next one you wanted to talk about.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about Holland 44. This is on my Criterion list. Even though this is a more modern game, something like from 2017,
Yep.
it is just incredible. It's so good. The quality of this game is what makes it onto this list. This is also a much more representative kind of traditional hex encounter war game, although the Zogban system is really neat
Very
and is on
unique.
full display in this game. Why I picked this game to be on this list is also because
Because it's awesome.
it's
I
freaking
mean,
awesome,
It's freaking awesome.
but it's also, you don't have one side as attacking and one side as defending.
Yep.
Though like, you kind of do, but it's not like that. Both sides are attacking. And I really
Look at how
love that about
organized.
this.
Look at how organized I am.
Right?
I didn't have counter trays at that time, but I wrote on these turn 10, turn 8.
But
Sorry.
I love this game because it's a great hex encounter game,
Yep.
and that's value in and of itself. But also, it's Operation Market Garden, which means there's a very specific and defined goal, and it's an interesting goal. A lot of other war games, you pick a pitched battle and it's like, here's my line of guys, here's your line of guys.
Yep.
Kill them and take that one space, right? This one, it's, here's these 3 rings of troops, very desperately trying to hang on, and we have a relief column,
30 core.
30 core, racing up the highway.
Yeah.
And
Hell's Highway.
And you have to go and smash the Germans here, smash the Germans here, and then go up and smash the Germans. So you have a very defined and a visual goal that you're
Yeah.
trying to achieve.
Well, and all the while, German reinforcements coming from
they're just
both
coming
flanks.
Everywhere, and in waves of them.
Yep.
And so the Germans have lots of proactive things to do. The Allies have lots of proactive things to do. And that makes it an exciting game, but it's also like the goals are very well defined and easy to visualize. That to me makes it
Yep.
an approachable game as well.
You got to get this bridge. You got to get this bridge. And
like,
you got to end at this bridge.
Here's my operation of like doing that.
Yep.
And it's very clearly defined, so it's really easy to start making strategic decisions about what you're doing on the ground.
Yep.
And you also get great tactical feel within each different combat as well. So this represents a lot of what I love in wargaming, and that's why it's my pick.
Arnhem is a bridge too far.
It's
just
very,
very difficult.
Very difficult for the Allies to do well at this game.
Eindhoven and what's the other one?
Nijmegen.
Nijmegen. I always want to say Nijmegen.
Nijmegen.
It's Nijmegen. But we had a blast with this. One of the first games in this series that we played all day. It really engendered in us a love of this Zogban system and a quest to basically play every single entry in that system. And we've done that. I've even acquired some of the out of print ones. And
Yeah, I think there's 2 more we need to play.
yes. And I can't remember which ones
We
they
need
are.
France and Ukraine.
Well, and France's are going to be on our shelf of shame this year.
So that will definitely get played this
and
year.
then Ukraine
Oh,
43,
and
which I have.
And does France also have something else in it as well?
Well, it has 2 games, Operation Dynamo and...
But they're both France, right?
They are, yeah.
Okay. I always
they're
get that
both
one
France.
mixed up with the No Retreat, where it's France and Poland.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's
a
different. Yeah.
But yeah, I love this system. It's a solid system. I love this
Yeah.
game. It's an incredible game. And this just is a really wonderful hex encounter game.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorites, probably of all
Yeah.
time, is the reality of it.
Ardennes is very good as well. Normandy 44, wherever that is on the shelf, also very good. I thought North Africa 41 was amazing. I thought
Oh, that's a
Salerno
little different.
yeah, but I thought Salerno 43 was amazing.
I'm looking forward to the new one.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Amazing game and an amazing system.
Yeah.
Deserves a space on any list
Yeah.
that
And it
is
ticks a
considered
lot of
classic.
Wargame boxes that's like, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about this one. I'm going to allow you to talk about this one because I know
So,
I love this game.
and SPQR, the reality is we could have picked Julius Caesar, we could have picked Alexander.
Alexander,
There's
yeah.
all sorts of ones, but probably one of those 3 is probably what I would have gone with. Caesar Conquest of Gaul is really good too.
Yep.
Those ones are both, if you buy the new editions, extreme value, which makes them a
Yeah.
great pick.
How many scenarios are in this one?
Oh gosh, it's
Like 20.
it's an insane amount because
All these.
they've collated all of the additional
15
C3Is and different expansions, and they put them all into one box basically. So these packs are really good, and they give you a snapshot of the growth of the. Ooh, look at those fancy trays.
Although these are the old trays, they're just not as cool as the new trays.
Oh no, I like these ones.
Really? I like the new ones better, but these are amazing.
No, see, I think I really like these.
These are amazing.
So this is the SPQR tray set from Cube for me. There's an affiliate link down below if you want to buy these. You get 5% off and we get a kickback. I love these, especially for a game like this.
Yep.
I had it bagged before and it was a nightmare to find anything.
And mine is clipped and it's organized in 2 counter trays, and it's just not as good as these.
Did you get everything into 2 counter trays?
I have bags of mainly administrative markers.
Because I think that's...
Yeah.
Before I had one of mine was just bags, terrible idea, and then one of them was 2 counter trays with a bunch of bags. Also, just
terrible,
just awkward.
Yep.
So these trays
Agreed.
are wonderful, but this is it's a game system designed by Mark Herman and Richard Berg, and it's Ancients Tactical Battles.
Yep.
But unlike something like Commands and Colors, this is very detailed.
Very
Now,
detailed.
you can get the simple GBOH rules, which I would also highly recommend.
And I think that's the way we've played it.
Yes, I think that might be the only way that I played it.
Yeah.
Although one of these days I'll do some big ones.
Yeah.
And basically the big one, that just adds a more intense command structure, basically, and orders and things like that. But these games are wonderful. You just get so much value in the box, but you also get to contend with so much at a tactical level, where it's like different unit types, and then within that, different weapon types that those unit types have, and how they act. And there's a big old matrix, and it's like, I got these guys attacking these guys, and we meet here, and this is a modifier they get, on top of terrain and
I really
all
like
these other
that.
things.
I really like that crunchiness of the system. That's one of the reasons that I like it. We actually played this for the first time during COVID
Yes.
on Vassal, and I had a great time, right? Then we played, I think, a couple scenarios as a follow-up, but it's been a while. It's been several years.
But I often have
good.
these set up solo, just under here, and just kind of, because you just push them around. I move these guys and they do all their attacks. I move my guys and do my attacks. And there's a little bit of command back and forth, but you just roll a die and that's who goes. It's really, really fun. It's really enjoyable. There's a lot to it. You can do the simple GBOH, nice and approachable. You can do the regular GBOH if you want to get into like the meat of the whole thing. And there's a ton of it. And I think this is one of those games and systems also that's like, for the Ancients lovers.
Yeah.
And I think, we talk about war games, there's so much World War II out there.
Ancients is another
But Ancients
big...
can be so choice, and there's
Yep.
so many people
Agreed.
studied classics and Ancients like ancient history at school and college, and these are wonderful games for those, pitched battles that we all know and love.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love the
and
system.
Herman and Berg, I think, just made a good pair, and they made a really good system and a great game. So...
Yeah, and there's at least 12 volumes out there. So you can get and do almost anything that you want with this within that realm.
And then, as you mentioned, which this includes most of them, there's also a lot of supplements in C3I magazine over the year. The Betas campaign was in the last one
Yes.
by Dan Forney, but that's just an addition onto...
But that also came with a scenario as well.
Agreed. It's a standalone system, but it came with another scenario. So
there's
a lot.
You get these deluxe boxes. There's so much in there, and you know that eventually there will always be more stuff as well. So this is a wonderful system and a wonderful title. So just keep an eye out for the big deluxe boxes that GMT releases, because those are such value.
Yeah. Well, this is one that I know you would have picked on your list if I hadn't picked it immediately, right?
So I'm going to bring out this.
Yeah, because they're both card-driven
So
games.
this was my pick.
Yep, and this was my pick.
Your pick.
And I would say I love this game just as much as I love this game. I probably lean towards this game.
I love this game more. But this is the Criterion pick for me because of what it represents.
So you're smarter than me. You understand.
Well,
you understood the assignment.
I'm more pretentious.
Yeah, well, I'm just not as specific on that. But both of these are card-driven games. Both of them use the same style of card-driven game.
Yes.
Vastly different subjects. You've got Cold War and you've got Global War on Terror here, but Labyrinth and Twilight Struggle, you're not going to find two finer games out there that manage to deal with the topic they've chosen, right? The Cold War from 1945 to 1990, 89, I think, right? 89.
If you ever get there in the game.
Yeah, and this one is 2001 through...
Wow.
After 4 or 5 expansions.
With the expansions, 2015, I think they went to.
And there's a new one coming out, right? That's a prequel called The Rise of Al-Qaeda. Both of these games, though, I think the thing that, to me, attracts me is the history, right? The way that the cards blend seamlessly the historical elements into the gameplay is amazing. Works so well to create that great narrative. I love that you can play this game. We've played Twilight Struggle a dozen times. We've gotten to the point, I've played it on my iPad and computer.
Yeah, right.
These
both have digital implementations.
Yep. But you start to learn, okay, I know the decks. I know the Soviet deck. I know the American deck. I know the jihadist deck, and I know the United States deck.
And that's when the game gets good.
Well, because you can then start... I don't want to say anticipate, but you've got you've got to anticipate. And the reality of our world, right, is with the technology we have today, it is not that hard to anticipate things.
Well, and so that's one of the things about these games, right? Whilst card-driven games existed before these did, Twilight Struggle really launched that genre into the public image, made it famous, and it was the #1 game on BGG for a long time.
Well, because this had a broad appeal.
Yes.
Everybody knows the Cold War. Everybody grew up during the Cold War, so not everybody. You
no, but at the time, a lot of people had who were playing board games at that. So it really defined the genre, I think.
Yep.
And then Labyrinth gives you a similar type of feel, even if it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
But it uses the card system in the same way, which is really important. But these are both games where they're so tense. There's so much going on.
Yep.
But if you are an experienced player and you play with a new player,
you can run the
win
table
every time.
Yeah.
It's.
I wouldn't say every time, but you're going to win 99% of the time. There could be something happen that
would be the worst possible.
Well, I'm thinking of the loose nuke, or not the loose nuke card.
But one of you knows that that's there and the other doesn't, right?
But if you're not prepared for
the missile envy card.
You're right.
So, but then that's just
Missile
it.
envy,
This,
that's
we
the
get
one.
back to
I said
what you were
loose nukes because it's loose nukes in this one.
But that's what we get to with this information that you're talking about.
Yeah.
As you learn the decks, you empirically get better at the game simply from that knowledge. You might be tactically a dud, but just having that knowledge, having played the game a few times, sets you apart from someone who's never played it.
Agreed.
That is something that...
And I'm not sure you can get away from that, right? It's going to happen.
That is a feature of the game, not
Yeah,
a bug.
I would agree, yeah.
Whereas something like Holland 44, it's all open information, and it's like, here's my guys, here's your guys, and we're just kind of fighting.
Yeah.
You don't really have that aspect that these games contain. And that's something that's wonderful to contend with.
Yeah.
And I think these are games that you play with the same partner again and again and again. And that's what's going to give you the most rewarding of experiences. And then you jump to another player of a similar experience, and you're fighting their play style.
Yep.
And then that's something that's so beautiful to contend with, that again, something like a Holland 44 is like, I can only drive my guys so far, right? You don't get that that level of differentiation between players as much as you do in a game like this.
Well, and I think along those same lines, I'm thinking of a game like Labyrinth right here that as you have played the jihadists like
probably 80% of the time.
80 to 85% of the time as we've played. I've played the US 80 to 85% of the time. I start to know some of the things you're going to do. You start to know some of the things I'm going to do. When it does get interesting is as we've gotten more and more comfortable with the game, we have started to diverge from that. Meaning, we'll do some other tricks.
We're playing each other.
Yeah. Just as much as we're playing the game.
game.
And I think that's one of the things that makes these, particularly these two games, so special in my mind.
Yes, because they both do that. I think Labyrinth does that a little more, and that's because in Labyrinth, if you must have... I don't know how to phrase this without sounding like a tool. You must have, like, a proactive jihadist player.
Oh, no, 100%.
Because
when I've played it, it's not as fun.
The jihadist player
not as good.
sets the tone for this game.
100%.
If they play passively or they are just not getting it going, they're probably going to get crushed.
Yeah.
So you have to make it happen, and you have to keep that pressure on and keep the Americans as reactive as possible.
Yep.
And that, whereas like this is a bit more back and forth.
Yep.
There's swings and momentum, but this is like if you have a bad jihadist player, the game is not going to go well.
Yeah.
But I love that in this. I love that extra layer of pressure because it makes the game that much more intense. And so a simple dice roll to activate a country is so meaningful.
Oh yeah.
In every other game, that's just kind of like, oh, how do we set them up? Who cares?
Yeah.
This is like.
What is
everything.
What does that say on the complexity scale?
This one on the complexity says 4.
See, and this one says 4, and I would vehemently disagree with that. This, I think, feels like a 4.
It's a 4 once you know it.
This one, I feel like, has so much more than this. This should be a 6 or a 7, but because this is so different
well, it's interesting.
Conceptually.
I think this is mechanically, and I think these are both mechanically a 4.
Simple.
For wargamers.
Right. Not for non-wargamers.
So this is mechanically not mega complex, but strategically and tactically,
it is a 10.
It's kind of like, here's the stuff, and they don't teach you what to do.
No.
You have to go and figure it out, and...
The bots will teach you what to do somewhat.
Yeah, to an extent.
Because they do things a little differently.
They're kind of a pain. I don't really like the bots in this game. But like... the onus is on you as the player to just do stuff. And it's it's a total sandbox. There isn't any guardrails, there's no railroads, unlike other games that we've talked about. And that's what makes these so good, is it's like, it's totally up to you.
100%.
And no game will look the same of this especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, these also define, I think, the card-driven
100%.
genre.
I think when I think of a CDG, I think of
I'm
these
constantly
games.
comparing other CDGs to these two
100%. Well, speaking of CDGs, I think I have one more CDG on my list. You have a solitaire game, and then I brought this out because it's just that damn good. Empire of the Sun,
Yes.
a game that we have played multiple times. I'm terrible at it. I'm going to say it.
This is
But
one
I
of
love it.
those games I do not care.
Yeah, I don't either.
I like the doing of the things is so interesting and engaging.
Yep. That it really doesn't matter
if
what the
I
outcome
get
is.
like
Yep.
totally
Ruffles
crushed
stumped.
or I make bad choices, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Because the doing is so fun.
Yeah. Well, and this is a card-driven game, but this more so than the other two that we talked about, this is really a hex and counter war game.
Yeah, it is
As-
a hex
as well.
map. This is a much
Yeah.
and like this is a combat game, right?
It is
It's-
about moving your troops around the board, getting them in position to do things like intercept and attack and do amphib landings, and it's really amazing.
And you have attack values and defensive values
Yep.
and movement values, all that stuff.
Everything else in those is kind of abstract.
Very abstract.
It's just you roll a die, and that represents this is you get modifiers, and you roll a 10-sided die, and if certain things happen, this is what happens. And
yeah, and you take losses and steps and
Yep.
flip guys over and all
so
that
very
stuff.
much a war game. I think that's why I wanted this one on the list, because it is a card-driven game, but it is a card-driven war game.
Oh yes.
And there's other ones, right? Washington's War, but this is really a war
Yeah,
game.
that's a little on the simpler side,
Yeah.
point-to-point movement. That's also great, but this is like because this also
Yeah.
is one of those. I think this was this may have been on like the Desert Island games or
It
like
was
something like
100%.
that because it's just
I would swim across the Pacific holding this to play this.
it's just so good.
Yeah.
And the replay in it's so good because you can do anything in this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can play it historically and that's what's going to happen, but like, who cares?
But
you don't have to.
You really can't play historically because of the way the cards come out, though. But you're right.
But like,
you could try.
You can try to do those things in that order.
yeah.
But
See, I think
you
one of
can do so much.
Sure.
It's very wide open. You
Yeah.
really can do whatever you want in it.
to me, one of the beautiful things of this game is you can do whatever your cards allow you to do. And that's what you've got to focus on, right? You look at your hand and you decide, okay, I got to do this offensive, this, got to build the road, got to do this. And that's going to change from round to round. It was funny. I once read, I think it was Space Rumsfeld. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
He was playing Empire of the Sun with a friend, and they were posting comments on Twitter. And it was something like, oh, this hand sucks, right? And he kind of showed the hand, and in my small mind, I was like, yeah, that's not great. And then Mark came along, and he commented on it. He's like, well, you can do this, 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 and this. And everybody was just kind of like, collectively, the jaws dropped on the interweb, right? Because Mark knows this game so well, he designed it, but he's also played it so many times. Yeah, signed by Mark. I feel bad for you. You have a little.
I gotta
dinky-
get one of those big.
I
Yeah,
got the
my
big
cards
box.
are in a stack
I
elsewhere.
feel bad for you. Mine's like in that beautiful 3-inch box. And,
That's what I need.
Sweet.
I got the like most battered
Yeah,
to
but-
death rule book because
But we have
so
played
much.
that so much. But this game, to me, is when you talk about a war game, this is one of my first thoughts, is Empire of the Sun.
And it's a grail game, at least play-wise, for a lot of people
Yep.
out there. Because
This-
it's big, it's intense, it's a
100%.
big investment.
This is a game we need to take to a con one time, set up, and just play all week. But anyway, amazing. I love it. It is a classic, an unrivaled classic, I think, in the war game world.
So another one I wanted to talk about is B17 Queen of the Skies from Avalon Hill. So this is one of those much older games. It's from '83, I believe. And I should know who designed this, but I don't.
I don't even know, to be honest.
Oh, my rules are up there, I think. Oh well.
And Legion has newer versions of this?
So yeah,
Sorry.
This is a solitaire war game, and this is one of those narrative style chart flipping dice rolling games.
Yep.
You don't have a ton of agency in these games necessarily, but this is about the stories that it tells and having some fun with your friends. Or you play it solo. But you fly a B-17 on a mission to Germany. What do you go on your mission for? Roll a die, and the chart tells you what.
You're bombing or you're doing this. Yeah.
And you fly through a bunch of zones, and then you might get attacked by Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs, And you got to defend those with your like side gunners and tail
Yep.
gunners and turret gunners and all that stuff. And if you survive all that, you get to the target and you have to roll some dice on a chart to drop your bombs and see what happens, basically. And then you got to turn around and do it all again on the way back home.
This is so chintzy.
It is.
It really
but
is.
This is what people
I
grew
know.
up with. This is the classic.
I know, and I'm probably going to be yelled at for saying that, but
it's
this has spawned a whole host
Yes.
of these kind of games. This is the genesis for that, but it really is a classic. Greg Smith has made 25 games along this same model, and
Yeah.
they're all good. They're all different.
So what you
anyway.
were saying earlier is we have Legion Wargames basically does an updated and a bit more expanded version of it called Target for Today. You can get it on their website. Something that's currently available. This is like way out of print.
But you can still find it.
But it's almost the identical same concept. You're flying B-17s. They also give you a bunch of other planes you can do, and it's the missions, the combat. It's all the same. It's just much. And then they also have Target for Tonight, which is night raids by Bomber Command, and so you're flying Lancasters and things like that at night.
And that is Bob Best.
That's
and
Bob
Steve
Best and
Dixon,
Steve
right?
Dixon, yeah. But we also have Greg Smith, who did things like Silent Victory,
The Hunters,
and
The
The Hunters,
Hunted.
and then
Yep.
he's done a bunch of aerial ones. His
Fighter
Night
Race.
Fighter races. Ugh.
So it's one of my favorites that I've ever played.
Yeah. And
100%.
They're the same system, but they're very different.
Yep.
But it's that same solitaire chart flipping concept for a solo game. And those are still going way strong.
Oh, yeah.
People love those. They love the stories that come out of them. They still play B-17 every year at WBC. They fly a massive mission, and I think they have like 10 to 15 tables of guys, and each
having a
guy
B-17.
RPs one plane, and they fly an entire squadron,
Yep.
and you get a little medal at the end of it.
Yeah.
And
That's something we should sign up
we
and
should
do
probably
it.
try to do, because like,
Just for fun.
you know, the game is the game.
Yep.
You roll some dice, you look at some charts. You can look at it that way. But the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And playing it collectively with a bunch of guys and seeing who makes the cakewalk and who doesn't. Like, that's the joy of what this offers.
Oh, yeah.
And how many people in the comments cut their teeth on this game, right?
I would guess
I know
most people.
so many people who were like, oh, I
Yep.
played this so much in high school, just like
Yep, over and
chucking
over
the
and over
dice
again.
again and again, wore out their
Yep.
copy. That is like a classic that goes on the list for what it's done for wargaming,
Yep.
period,
Well,
and
it's-
how many wargames it made.
It spawned dozens and dozens of games along the same. I wanted to. Now we don't have a copy of it. We used to, but we got rid of it. Our father-in-law still has the original copy. Upfront
Yes.
is one of those that I think should be on this list.
Yes.
Because Upfront has also spawned a lot of concepts, a lot of other. I'm thinking of Lock and Loads.
Their Vias for Victory.
Yeah, it's the same concept, a little more involved. But Upfront is one of those classic games that we have played dozens of times with our father-in-law. It has created so many memories and so much narrative. It's just a classic game that I will play at any time with anyone.
And that's a game that you like can't get anymore.
Yeah.
You can buy secondhand copies of it.
Well, I think Wargame Vault has.
But yeah, Wargame Vault has not only Upfront, but also the expansions, and it's like a print-on-demand service.
Yeah.
And they have cards instead of the crappy admin counters that are way better. And you can buy them all from there and do that, and it's like a nice, not beaten up copy. You don't get the cool box with the artwork, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That is a resource that's available for sure. That game's a classic.
But it's a classic. To me, it needs to be on this list. The last game that I wanted to throw on the list, really a new classic, right? This came out like in 2014, so not that long ago, 11 years. Unconditional Surrender. You have played this more than I have.
Yeah.
You've played it solo. You've played it on Vassal. I've really only played it the one time.
Yeah, we played this at Buckeye Gamefest. Was it last year, 2 years ago?
Couple of years ago, 2 years. But it was just that damn good
Yeah.
that I'll never forget it. I now ordered my own copy, right? I've got the, whatever it is, third printing. This is the second printing, I think.
Yeah, I think I got the second printing.
And I ordered the third printing with the mounted map boards. And it's just that classic of a grand strategic war game.
Yeah, it's
Hex Encounter.
It's the whole war in Europe, and it's 2 maps, and it's big and it's
amazing.
massive, but it's a sandbox.
Yep.
You can get all sorts of crazy diplomatic things happening,
Yep.
or you can just kind of play it straight
Yep.
and do it historically as well.
But this kind of game, and it's not the first, but it has added on the Hex Encounter, lexicon, because it just creates some of the most interesting outcomes.
And yeah,
I think.
what I love about this game is that it's massive and it does everything,
It's
but
pretty
the
simple.
resolution is simple.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
And that's something that I think I'm looking for more and more in war games, where it's like, oh, here's my modifiers. Do I commit an event, yes or no?
Roll the
die.
die.
Let's,
Do
look
I
at
hit?
the,
Yep.
let's look at the CRT. It's a
Yep.
combined CRT. There's just different columns of modifiers for different
Yep.
type of combat that you're doing, and you memorize those real quick. And the air naval stuff is a really slick system
It is,
with the
with
sorties that
sorties.
you use, and you can kind of go as hard or as soft as you want on those things, and how much you commit to all that stuff without being super burdensome.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a long game.
Oh, massive game.
It is an involved game, but really mechanically it's pretty straightforward and simple. And didn't we play... We played like the C3I version of this. Which one was that?
So the
Trying to
one that we
remember what that
played,
was
I can't remember
called.
what they called it, but it was called Foul Blau. It was
Okay.
just the East Front.
Yeah, that was the first time I played it.
Yes.
And I loved it from that time. I'm like, man, I want to play this one day.
And it's funny,
was
I
good.
found that game to be...
But it was the system. The system is what I thought was interesting. The sorties and the modifier. You didn't have the politics.
Yes, and see, Foul Blau is... It's
Sure.
all the least interesting
Sure.
of the game. The scale and the scope of this, and the switching of focuses of the theaters, the diplomacy up until you get to Total War, that's the stuff that gets
Sure.
me going. And Foul Blau doesn't really have that, but they do have it's like a quad pack of battles coming out that you
Yep.
can do. That's like, I think it's got France and it's got Poland and it's got, which is
Yeah.
scenarios in this.
It's an introductory way to get into the system.
Yeah.
It's called, what is it called? Unconditional Surrender Western Front.
Yeah.
And I got to look at the most up-to-date version of it. Last WBC, Sal was there. We talked about it. It's going to be cool. It's going to get a lot of people into the bigger game, and I think that will be a jumping off point for them to... But this is a classic system, modeled on some other systems, but it just makes for a very interesting game.
And it's much more approachable than a lot of those other massive, I think, World War II games. I think the last game I wanted to talk about, and I forgot to get it off the shelf, is Here I Stand.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Here I Stand, just make it... It's both...
It's right behind you.
No, it's not. It's over there.
Oh, okay.
It's a card-driven game. Love that. We've talked about CDGs already. But it's point-to-point movement, which I don't know if we've discussed yet so far. So it's a different type of game where here's my stacks of guys, and I have a point, and there's connecting lines of different... some is a mountain, one it's plain.
And scale-wise, you can move a certain amount of those.
Yeah, and you're moving guys around, but it's the Reformation and the wars of religion.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Thematically, it sits in a space that's really interesting to a lot of people, and there's not a ton of games about that.
Nope.
So it really stands out. That's a great pun. Really well.
Stands out.
It's a 6-player game.
Yep.
So it's a big multiplayer affair, which is wonderful as well.
Takes all day.
And it just
blast.
It has the best stories that come out of it.
Yep. Well, and it has negotiations.
So many layers.
Yep. Alliances. It has combat. All of the factions are asymmetric. They all
there's
have different ways that they're doing.
Military, political. There's religious. There's
the pirating from the New World crap. I don't know. There's
got
just
everything.
so many layers to it.
and you'll play it one time, and then you'll be like, oh, that was amazing. I kind of know what I want to do next time. So you play that same faction the next time, like, oh, I was way better at it, and I did better. And then you play a new faction, you're like,
Oh, I
have
gotta
no
learn
idea
again.
what I'm
Yeah.
doing again. So you're getting so much of that fresh newness out of it.
Yep.
That's wonderful. But on top of that, you still are just playing the same amazing game again and again and again, and it's just as rewarding. I've never had a bad time playing it.
Well, and we played the 2-player Holy War scenario, which was put into the 200th or 500th anniversary edition. 500th anniversary edition. That didn't have any of the warring stuff. It was really just the Holy War. But I was hooked immediately. I was like, boy, this is fascinating.
Well, there's just so much
interesting
going on.
And then we played it with Mike and Nate, 4-player. And then we played it again at their place. And we've played it again. We've now played it at Buckeye Gamefest.
We played it. I played it at
WBC, online. We've played that one probably 8 or 9 times, 7 or 8 times now. Virgin Queen 3 or 4 times. And that says something about it. I can still play it, and I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing still.
And I would say, without question, that is my favorite multiplayer game.
Oh, 100%. It's amazing.
All time.
It's amazing.
Like, it's
so good.
It's really amazing, honestly.
It is a 1,000. I mean, it's just amazing. On a scale of 100, it's 1,000 because it's just that damn good. Yeah. So is Virgin Queen. I think I prefer Here I Stand. Yeah.
Like, really, that sets the tone.
Well, and that spawned, Virgin Queen, and then the follow-up to that, Tanto Monta. We didn't have a great experience with it, but I could see what was there. It's just too much.
It's...
but I want to give it another try.
But even... What was that new one that you got?
Yeah, Time of Wars on the Eastern Front.
Yeah, people taking that and doing more with it
from Stratagemata.
And so that but that game it sits in such a cool place.
Yep.
And it's 100%. One of those games you have it set up and everyone's like oohing and ahhing over your shoulder because it's one of those classic Grail games almost.
Well, it has amazing table presence. It's fun to watch a group of guys play it for 7 or 8 hours.
Just yelling and screaming.
And you just have a blast. I've never had a bad time. Even though I've got my teeth kicked in most of the time, I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's
because something comes out of it that's just amazing. I think back to some of the great experiences, like we have a short on it on the YouTube. I was rolling 10 dice, needed 5s and 6s, and I think I hit 7 times. I couldn't do that again if
whatever
I wanted
it was,
to.
It was like crazy odds, and it was wonderful. And
but that's what happens.
Yeah, those games are so grand, and they provide those great moments, and you'll never forget them.
Yep.
So I think that's great. There's a million other games we could talk about that it's tough to even cut off. Like, we haven't mentioned a single coin game. That's a modern classic. I would 100%. Throw something on there. I would pick an SCS game as well.
I'd pick a BCS game.
I would probably say Ardennes 2 because Ardennes is the original, but the new, just a nice new kind of fresh face on it, something like that.
And I very much enjoyed Ardennes 2.
You could pick so many other games to make a list like this. We just had to kind of be reasonable about it.
And we'll say this often. After only doing this for 9 years, we have not played every game.
No.
And there's a lot of systems that we have not experienced. Another, the Russian campaign.
Yeah, right.
I didn't play that when I was a kid. You didn't play that when you were a kid. We got the new edition a couple of years ago. We played it, and I finally understand why people liked it so much.
Yeah, people talked about it all the time.
Solid. The system was just that solid, classic. Everyone grew up cutting their teeth on it, and it led to a lot of people wanting to do East Front Wargames. And that needs to be on this list. I forgot it. It's at home, but...
I have my Compass version.
Well, there you go.
And you have the GMT version.
We could go on and on. There's so many games that we could add to this, but...
Yeah, I would throw a BCS game on this list.
100%.
Because I think that is a unique system that's got its own place in wargaming, that those are a joy to play.
Yeah.
But you could go on endlessly, right?
Yep, 100%.
I could put Warfighter, Fields of Fire, all sorts of things on the list.
I think Old School Tactical could go on there because I enjoy that system so much.
So many of those tactical systems could go on. And that's... So we just have to kind of be reasonable about it.
We've almost been on for 2 hours, so...
So let us know what your Criterion games would be. But thank you very much for sticking with us. I've been Alexander for PlayersAid.com.
And I'm Grant.